Hi everyone, this is Trina, and I'm gonna tell you a story about me growing. Considering this is SGA's channel and that's your shtick, I doubt you're surprised. Anyway, I was over in England on holiday with my good friend Hana. After a morning of looking around Shakespeare's Globe, the London Eye, and the Houses of Parliament, we had retired to our hotel rooms for a bit. After a little while, my mobile rang. Hiya?
Hi, Trina. You okay?
Hana? Hi, what's up?
Want to come over to my room before we go see James?
Oh, sure. Should I bring anything?
Now you can grab anything you need from your room on the way out.
Okay, great. I'll be right over.
Sure. See you in a bit.
Yep. Bye. And so I walked through the hotel corridors over to Hannah's room where the story really begins. Hana was quite into growth, which I suppose was pretty convenient for the channel. Maybe too convenient. Anyway, whilst I was aware this was an element of her character, it wasn't really at the forefront of mine. So I wasn't expecting anything to happen other than what we had agreed over the phone call, to be honest.
Hello. Come on in.
Thanks.
Drink?
Sure, what you got?
Coke, lemonade, Fanta.
Lemonade, please.
Coming right up. Sit down and make yourself comfortable.
Sure. Hana had been shopping earlier on to stock us up for the trip, and now headed into the kitchen to retrieve some of the produce. Moments later, she re-emerged with 2 glasses of lemonade fizzing away.
Here.
Thanks! So for a while we drank our lemonades and chatted. Casual stuff I won't bore you with. The majority was about our afternoon plans. We both had a common friend, James, who'd agreed to spend the afternoon with us, meeting us at the train station and taking us around some more rural areas of England. After a few minutes of discussing, to my astonishment, I saw Hana grow with my own 2 eyes.
Ooh, it's working!
What? What's happening?
Well, remember I said I had a treat in store for James?
James and Hana had met through this common interest in growth initially, and I had met James after through Hana. We worked together on the content for his YouTube channel, though whilst fictitious growth animations are all fine and good in my eyes, seeing my friend grow in front of me in reality was another matter. What happened?
Well, I found this growth potion online. I thought we could greet James properly.
Oh, no. I'm not drinking any potions you got off the internet, thank you. Hana held up her lemonade and grinned at me. I realized then. I knew what she'd done. I should have been mad that my friend had literally spiked my drink, but at that moment, I was distracted by the overwhelming feeling of growing. My body was flooded with this tingly feeling that spread from my center out to the tips of my fingers and toes.
It's working! I can't believe, but it's actually really working!
Neither can I! I honestly hadn't expected anything to come of this, but now it was actually happening. I was on the border between panicking and laughing hysterically at how bizarre this was as Hana and I crept slowly larger. Hana seemed ecstatic, and I still couldn't tell what to think. Normally about 5'1", it was strange that now I just passed 6 feet. Hana had gone from 5'7" herself to 6'5". Shouldn't we be getting outside?
Yeah, probably.
We both headed outside the room and rushed down the hotel corridors in a rush. I had to start ducking under the door frames as we ran and grew onwards. When we reached the lift, I decided it wouldn't be the best idea to try and cram ourselves in there. The stairs, quick!
Right behind you.
Ducking through a door to the side, we ran down the stairs, strangely small beneath my now longer and still slowly elongating feet. Luckily, our rooms were only on the 2nd floor, so we only had 1 flight of stairs to climb down before we got to the ground floor. I had to half limbo under the next set of fire doors before we came out in the main lobby. Upstairs, the hallways and staircase had been almost deserted, but here there were crowds of people bustling around, going between the exit, reception desk, restaurant, elevators, shopping center access simultaneously. Then again, regardless of their destinations, all of them were surprised at the sight of 2 growing girls bursting into the lobby and towering over them all. I wasn't surprised. I'd have stared too. A stunned, gaping expression spread through all the people within the lobby, staff and visitors alike.
Can we get to the exit, please?
Luckily, the intention of everyone having been on us was useful in clearing a large path to the exit. There wasn't any need to worry about the glass ceilings in the lobby, as they were high up in the air. But my worry and sense of urgency came from the knowledge that we'd have to get out of the revolving doors. And every second we spent crossing that lobby, our bodies kept extending slightly. Hana got there first and had to get down on her hands and knees. But she got jammed with her head and shoulders in one compartment and the rest of her sticking out back into the lobby.
I might not have thought this part through.
Come back. We'll have to think of something else. One very helpful member of the public tried to hold open the fire exit, though this too proved to be too small for Hana to fit through. Her shoulders were wider than the door seemingly no matter which angle she approached it with. We were well and truly stuck in the lobby. Sorry about this everyone, but we've had a little accident, you see. I'd never quite been one for public speaking. Luckily, Hana sensed this and quickly took over.
What she's trying to say is that we're stuck here and growing, so I'm afraid we might have to ask you to leave for your own safety.
At the mention of the word leave, pandemonium spread across every being in the lobby. Everyone dashed for the nearest accessible exit. I had somehow ended up straddling over the revolving door, watched as a large number of people passed under my feet and out through the revolving door. As I watched, I saw those people gradually sliding away beneath me as they still grew larger. Remember when I said earlier that the ceiling wasn't a cause of worry? Well, now it was. As Hana and me continued to grow and spread out, our ever-increasing bodies hugging more and more of the space in the lobby to themselves as we grew. Glancing down below again, I saw what appeared to be the last few people disappear through the sliding door, leaving me and Hana alone in the once huge lobby.
You know, maybe I should have thought this through.
Maybe so. We both kneeled down onto the floor as our heads crept ever closer to the glass ceiling. Our body's growth didn't appear to be slowing down at all. Insistent like the rapid beating of my heart, the growth spurts still flowed through me. Again and again and again. Bigger and bigger and bigger we grew. The walls forcing me and Hana together in the center of the lobby. The centerpiece of the lobby was a fountain with a statue, and whilst it had appeared so great when we first arrived, I remember thinking it looked minuscule as we both grew into it and water started to flow out over the floor. Then, for the last time, our heads approached the glass roof and smashed straight through it. Glass shards fell around us like hail as the whole ceiling shattered and fell around us. Having been forced so close together, me and Hana wanted to regain our personal space. Getting to her feet, Hana made the mistake of leaning against a wall for support and feeling it crumble away as her hand went straight through. Being careful not to use any more support, we both stood back up and was astonished to see how tiny the city of London had become. Now standing on the ground gave a similar effect to our visit to the London Eye that very morning. Whilst we weren't taller than all the buildings, we were taller than most in the immediate vicinity. So enraptured by the slowly rising view were we that we didn't notice our feet and legs outgrowing the hotel lobby entirely and knocking the walls of it to the floor.
Well then, time to find the station?
What?
Well, I say we go find James.
Why?
Well, for one reason, we can't stay here.
That I could agree with. Despite our escape, both our bodies were still growing. I watched as Hana's foot slowly spread itself out onto the street in front of what was the hotel.
And secondly, he'd be greatly disappointed if we didn't turn up at the train station.
Again, her point was true. I hated letting people down, especially if it involved leaving them waiting on the train platform all afternoon. Okay, fine. Let's just do it. Before we get much bigger and start destroying even more stuff. It was almost impossible to walk out of London without stepping on things every single step. Whilst it ought to have gotten easier when I began to tiptoe to minimize the surface area with the ground, even that small area was slowly getting larger and more difficult to place safely as we continued to grow. Multiple times, Hana got her phone with the map on it out of her pocket and compared it to the ground far below. I say compare because the larger we grew, the more the city below started to look like the satellite images on the screen. I'm still not sure to this day how that growth potion left our clothing and stuff we had in our pockets to scale with us, but I was truly grateful for it. After an age of crossing the city like this, we eventually found the railway line we were supposed to have written on and started to follow that. The longer we followed, And as each stride we took moved us a greater distance than the ones before it, the dense housing of the city gradually fell away to the fields, tree and greenery, along with the occasional little village or town scattered around. With this, it allowed us to gather our wits a little as we started to casually stroll along, chatting and enjoying each other's company despite the circumstances.
I'm still not quite sure about this. We really should have only grown a little bit.
Really? A little bit?
Exactly, in fact.
She rummaged around inside of her pocket and pulled out a little empty bottle. On the back of it was a notice that read, "Growth Potion. Add to a glass to grow 1 meter in height. Serving 10 milliliter per meter of growth desired. Taking a greater dose at once amplifies the overall dose effects. It is advised not to take doses above that of 30 milliliters."
Ah.
To give her justice, she looked dreadfully embarrassed about the mistake she made. Considering the bottle was empty, we both must have had a lot more of that stuff than just 10 milliliters. Look, it's alright. Read a bit more. The next passage read, "If you aren't as happy with your new height as you thought you would be, get in touch. We at TS Potions pride ourselves on customer satisfaction. And if you aren't satisfied, then we'll help you get back to normal guaranteed. Just call," and then they gave us a phone number.
But we overdosed. I'm not sure they can get us back from that. They'd have to stop us growing first.
Well, let's keep our hopes up. And in the meantime, I wouldn't be surprised if we weren't too far from where James is waiting by now. Earlier on in the journey, we caught sight of the train we should have been on traveling on leaving the station. Now, the same train was ahead of us and we were making ground on it. Our strides were now so earth-shatteringly huge that we were gaining and in fact overtaking the train we should have been riding in the first place. See? We might even be early! With the knowledge that our destination wasn't too distant now, we continued to follow the now minuscule train tracks along the ground, still growing bigger with every stride. We tried calling the company, but neither of our huge phones seemed to have any reception. Therefore, the plan was to make contact with James and hope he could set things straight. James was so eager to meet us that he'd actually arrived very early to the station, and now waited the train platform for the train to arrive and us two to depart. He set out a table now, whistling a happy tune as he waited in excitement for her arrival. What he wasn't expecting in the least was for her now ridiculously scaled-up bodies to begin to appear over the horizon, accompanied by massive tremors of the earth, as we drew closer and closer. The happy tune stopped as he began to shiver in the surreal nature of the scene he could see. Whilst we rose up out of the distance, massive in James's view of the horizon, James to us wasn't even a speck on the ground. Buildings at this point were almost the size of flies, with the humans inhabiting them even smaller.
This is the one!
So, James is here? James, hearing his name thundered down from the heavens as we discussed his whereabouts, almost screamed his head off. Mind you, our shoes were as large as some of the larger towns in the area. He was probably pretty valid in wanting to scream his head off. Well, how do you suggest we talk to him? I can't make him out from up here.
Why not just...
And Hana dug her fingernail into the earth and lifted the station and platforms up, and into the sky. This was by no means a smooth ride, mind you, as although she tried as hard as possible to keep the small island steady on the end of her finger, the slight shaking of her finger amplified to the tiny humans below was like the earth was breaking apart. The train lines connecting to the station to the ground on either side snapped away immediately as the building was raised out of place and miles into the sky resting upon the giantess's forefinger. He's really on there somewhere? Luckily, I decided to speak away from where the station was on Hannah's hand. If not, the slight air disturbance from my voice, which is hardly noticeable at regular size, would have been amplified into a massive gale that could have ripped this station apart. James? Hello? Though no matter how loud James shouted, the size difference was at such a level that we couldn't hear a thing he'd said. Even if I'd have somehow transported him up to my ear canal, that would have loomed in front of light a mighty cylindrical tunnel nearly a mile in diameter. It was because of this one-way communication that we resigned to give James instructions to follow.
James, if you're down there, we need you to make a call. Oh.
Realizing now that lifting the whole station into the air probably wasn't the best idea, as James would now be having the phone reception issues stopping us from calling ourselves, She lowered her finger to the ground again carefully.
Now I need you to make a call to this number and say that you've got 2 unsatisfied customers, James.
James struggled to regain his composure, having just been knocked to the floor again as their building was lowered as low as it could go, but managed to regain his phone and dial the number. It rang in James's hand.
Hello? Yes, I'm 2 rather upset customers of yours here. Well, I'd imagine some sort of growth thing. Yeah, I'm not sure how big, maybe 50 miles? And from the looks of things, still growing. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Not too long after this, Hannah and I somehow fell asleep. I awoke to the sounds of my phone ringing. Still half awake, I reached over and answered it.
Hi, Trina. You, okay?
Hannah, hi, what's up?
I was gonna ask if you wanted to come over to my room before we go see James, but I don't think we've got time now. I must have drifted off.
What time is it even? Oh, crap, we're gonna miss the train.
Yeah. I'll get packed to meet you downstairs.
Sure, by that fountain in the lobby?
Sure. See you in a bit.
Yep, bye. I lay up from my bed, still a little dozy. What a bizarre dream. Obviously, I'd been spending too much time working on the animations for James. Maybe it was time to ask for a break. I could do so in person this very afternoon, in fact. That was what I was thinking as I packed my travel rucksack and headed out of my hotel room.
You guys, what were you thinking?
Huh?
What's up?
You don't remember? You 2 towering over this station, lifting it into the air.
But that was a dream.
Oh.
No more growing in the future. Okay, guys? There's no end of paperwork for you to do back at my house.
Well, it was Hannah's fault.
I thought I'd treat you, but it went a bit overboard.
Well, whilst I appreciate the gesture, let's keep that kind of story to animations from now on. Alright?
All right.
Sure.
You won't believe how many repairs they've had to make. They weren't a bad customer relations team, but you 2 certainly weren't some of their best customers either. Anyway, so we can talk more in the car. It's parked over here. So there's a trip to London being. So